transparent wildlife, the Athena queries, much of it is stored in unpublished .cd format. The database reviewer also notices that users perform most queries by selecting a specific code. This produces a reduced speed of the Athena query performance. Offset is the data format from .csv to JSON format. The equal to true. Offset replaces the .cg file by using the comparison. Offset changes the data format from .csv to a basic template of a typical pipeline. Offset decomposes the .csv file by using DEA-C01. Correct answer is option C. Question is, format data company collects simple data from its part control to monitor and optimize operational efficiency. Company uses Amazon Kinesis data streams to publish the data that systems contains to the data stream. Then Amazon Kinesis data firewalls writes the data to Amazon S3 bucket. The company used to display a real-time view of operational efficiency on a wide screen in the manufacturing facility. Full service agreement means requiring the administrator. Offset uses Amazon managed service for a passive link, previously known as Amazon Kinesis Data Analytics, to process the sensor data. Use a connector for also space to write data to an Amazon downstream database. Use the downstream database as a source to create a robust report. Also, you consider the test results to send a notification to an AWS number person when Internet publish is created. Use the number person to publish the data to Amazon Omnia. Use Omnia as a source to create an analytics site dashboard. Offset uses Amazon managed service for AWS, previously known as Amazon Kinesis Data Analytics, to process the user data. Create a data firewall delivery stream to process data directly to an Amazon downstream database. Use the downstream database as a source to create an Amazon website dashboard. Also uses AWS bookmarks. Read sensor data from the S3 bucket in real time. Publish the data to an Amazon downstream database. Use the downstream database as a source to create a performance dashboard. Correct answer is option C. If you download the complete instance, this included contains a link provided in the description. If you wish to contain please like and subscribe. This analytical tools gives daily records of the financial performance of investment portfolios in .csv format in an Amazon S3 bucket. A data engineer uses AWS columns to call the S3 data. The data engineer must read the S3 data to both daily in the internet through a hyperlink. My service agreement means two comments. Offset will create an RV envelope that contains the resolve it forward. Specify the S3 bucket file for the source data as the progress status to create a data video to run the program. Consider the output constraint into OpenR in the existing S3 bucket. Also, we create an ID below that includes the AWS Grid service role pointer associated with the product. Specify the S3 bucket file for the source data as the progress data field. Create a dedicated route to run the product. Specify the database name for the output. Process and create an IAM that includes the on-board S3 full access policy. Associate the node with the product. Specify the S3 bucket file for the source data as the progress data field. Allocate data processing units DPUs to run the code every day. Specify a database name for the output. Often we create an IAM role that includes the controller to the service role program. Associate the role with the cloud. Specify the S3 bucket file for the source data as the progress bucket store. Allocate data processing units DPUs to run the code every day. Configure the output test method to import in the existing S3 bucket. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated countries from the link provided in the description. If you like this movie, please subscribe.
Hello everyone. Question is a company loads transaction data for each day into Amazon Redshift tables at the end of each day. The company wants to have the ability to track which tables have been loaded and which tables still need to be loaded. A data engineer wants to store the load statuses of Redshift tables in an Amazon DynamoDB table. The data engineer creates an AWS Lambda function to publish the details of the load statuses to DynamoDB. How should the data engineer invoke the Lambda function to write load statuses to the DynamoDB table? Option A. Use a second Lambda function to invoke the first Lambda function based on Amazon CloudWatch events. Option B. Use the Amazon Redshift Data API to publish an event to Amazon Event Bridge. Configure an Event Bridge rule to invoke the Lambda function. Option C. Use the Amazon Redshift Data API to publish a message to an Amazon Simple Queue service, Amazon SQS queue. Configure the SQS queue to invoke the Lambda function. Option D. Use a second Lambda function to invoke the first Lambda function based on AWS CloudTrail events. Correct answer is option C. Question is a data engineer needs to securely transfer 5 TB of data from an on-premises data center to an Amazon S3 bucket. Approximately 5% of the data changes every day. Updates to the data need to be regularly profilated to the S3 bucket. The data includes files that are in multiple formats. The data engineer needs to automate the transfer process and must schedule the process to run periodically. Which AWS service should the data engineer use to transfer the data in the most operationally efficient way? Option A. AWS Data Sync. Option B. AWS Glue. Option C. AWS Direct Connect. Option D. Amazon S3. Transfer acceleration. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company uses an on-premises Microsoft SQL Server database to store financial transaction data. The company migrates the transaction data from the on-premises database to AWS at the end of each month. The company has noticed that the cost to migrate data from the on-premises database to an Amazon RDS for SQL Server database has increased recently. The company requires a cost-effective solution to migrate the data to AWS. The solution must cause minimal downtime for the applications that access the database. Which AWS service should the company use to meet these requirements? Option A, AWS Lambda. Option B, AWS Database Migration Service, AWS DMS. Option C, AWS Direct Connect. Option D, AWS Data Sync. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a data engineer is building a data pipeline on AWS by using AWS Glue Extract, Transform and Load ETL jobs. The data engineer needs to process data from Amazon RDS and MongoDB, perform transformations and load the transformed data into Amazon Redshift for analytics. The data updates must occur every hour. Which combination of tasks will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Choose two options. Option A, configure AWS Glue triggers to run the ETL jobs even or per hour. Job events per hour. Option B, use AWS Glue data, clean and prepare the data for analytics. Option C, use AWS Lambda functions to schedule and run the ETL jobs event per hour. Option D, use AWS Glue connections to establish connectivity between the data sources and Amazon Redshift. Option E, use the Redshift Data API to load transformed data into Amazon Redshift. Correct answer is option A and option D. Question is, a company uses an Amazon Redshift cluster that runs on RA3 nodes. The company wants to scale read and write capacity to meet demand. A data engineer needs to identify a solution that will turn on concurrency scaling. Which solution will meet this requirement? Option A, turn on concurrency scaling in workload management WLM for Redshift serverless work groups. Option B, turn on concurrency scaling at the workload management WLM queue level in the Redshift cluster. Option C, turn on concurrency scaling in the settings during the creation of and new Redshift cluster. Option D, turn on concurrency scaling for the daily uses quota for the Redshift cluster. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a data engineer must orchestrate a series of Amazon Athena queries that will run every day. Each query can run for more than 15 minutes. Which combination of steps will meet these requirements most cost effectively? Choose two options. Option A, use an AWS Lambda function and the Athena Boto3 client start underscore query underscore execution API call to invoke the Athena queries programmatically. Option B, create an AWS state functions workflow and add two states. Add the first state before the Lambda function. Configure the second state as a wait state to periodically check whether the Athena query has finished using the Athena Boto3 get underscore query underscore execution API call. Configure the workflow to invoke the next query when the current query has finished running. Option C, use an AWS Glue Python shell job and the Athena Boto3 client start underscore query underscore execution API call to invoke the Athena queries programmatically. Option D, use an AWS Glue Python shell script to run a sleep timer that checks every 5 minutes to determine whether the current Athena query has finished running successfully. Configure the Python shell script to invoke the next query when the current query has finished running. Option E, use Amazon Managed Workflows for Apache Airflow Amazon MWAA to orchestrate the Athena queries in AWS batch. Correct answer is option A and option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a data engineer is configuring an AWS Glue job to read data from an Amazon S3 bucket. The data engineer has set up the necessary AWS Glue connection details and an associated IAM role. However, when the data engineer attempts to run the AWS Glue job, the data engineer receives an error message that indicates that there are problems with the Amazon S3 VPC gateway endpoint. The data engineer must resolve the error and connect the AWS Glue job to the S3 bucket. Which solution will meet this requirement? Option A, update the AWS Glue security group to allow inbound traffic from the Amazon S3 VPC gateway endpoint. Option B, configure an S3 bucket policy to explicitly grant the AWS Glue job permissions to access the S3 bucket. Option C, review the AWS Glue job code to ensure that the AWS Glue connection details include a fully qualified domain name. Option D, verify that the VPC's route table includes inbound and outbound routes for the Amazon S3 VPC gateway endpoint. Correct answer is option D. Question is, a retail company has a customer data hub in an Amazon S3 bucket. Employees from many countries use the data hub to support company-wide analytics. A governance team must ensure that the company's data analyst can access data only for customers who are within the same country as the analysts. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational effort? Option A, create a separate table for each country's customer data. Provide access to each analyst based on the country that the analyst serves. Option D. Register the S3 bucket as a data lake location in AWS Lake Formation. Use the lake formation row label security features to enforce the company's access policies. Option C. Move the data to AWS regions that are close to the countries where the customers are. Provide access to each analyst based on the country that the analyst serves. Option D. Load the data into Amazon Redshift. Create a view for each country. Create separate IAM role for each country to provide access to data from each country. Assign the appropriate roles to the analysts. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a media company wants to improve a system that recommends media content to customer based on user behavior and preferences. To improve the recommendation system, the company needs to incorporate insights from third-party datasets into the company's existing analytics platform. The company wants to minimize the effort and time required to incorporate third-party datasets. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Option A. Use API calls to access and integrate third-party datasets from AWS Data Exchange. Option B. Use API calls to access and integrate third-party datasets from AWS. Option C. Use Amazon Kinesis data streams to access and integrate third-party datasets from AWS code commit repositories. Option D. Use Amazon Kinesis data streams to access and integrate third-party datasets from Amazon Elastic Container Registry Amazon ECR. Correct answer is option A. Question is, a financial company wants to implement a data maze. The data maze must support centralized data governance, data analysis, and data access control. The company has decided to use AWS Glue for data catalogs and extract, transform, and load ETL operations. Which combination of AWS services will implement a data maze? Choose two options. Option A. Use Amazon Aurora for data storage. Use an Amazon Redshift provisioned cluster for data analysis. Option B. Use Amazon S3 for data storage. Use Amazon Athena for data analysis. Option C. Use AWS Glue Data Brew for centralized data governance and access control. Option D. Use Amazon RDS for data storage. Use Amazon EMR for data analysis. Option E. Use AWS Lake Formation for centralized data governance and access control. Correct answer is option B and option E. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a data engineer maintains custom Python scripts that perform a data formatting process that many AWS Lambda functions use. When the data engineer needs to modify the Python scripts, the data engineer must manually update all the Lambda functions. The data engineer requires a less manual way to update the Lambda functions. Which solution will meet this requirement? Option A. Store a pointer to the custom Python scripts in the execution context object in a shared Amazon S3 bucket. Option B. Package the custom Python scripts into Lambda layers. Apply the Lambda layers to the Lambda functions. Option C. Store a pointer to the custom Python scripts in the environment variables in a shared Amazon S3 bucket. Option D. Assign the same alias to each Lambda function. Call each Lambda function by specifying the function's alias. Correct answer is option B. Question is, a company created an extract, transform, and load ETL data pipeline in AWS Glue. A data engineer must crawl a table that is in Microsoft SQL Server. The data engineer needs to extract, transform, and load the output of the crawl to an Amazon S3 bucket. The data engineer also must orchestrate the data pipeline. Which AWS service or feature will meet these requirements most cost effectively? Option A. AWS Step Functions. Option B. AWS Glue Workflows. Option C. AWS Glue Studio. Option D. Amazon Managed Workflows for Apache Airflow, Amazon MWAA. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a financial services company stores financial data in Amazon Redshift. A data engineer wants to run real-time queries on the financial data to support a web-based trading application. The data engineer wants to run the queries from within the trading application. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Option A. Establish WebSocket connections to Amazon Redshift. Option B. Use the Amazon Redshift Data API. Option C. Set up Java Database Connectivity JDBC connections to Amazon Redshift. Option D. Store frequently accessed data in Amazon S3. Use Amazon S3 Select to run the queries. Correct answer is option B. Question is, a company uses Amazon Athena for one-time queries against data that is in Amazon S3. The company has several use cases. The company must implement permission controls to separate query processes and access to query history among users, teams, and applications that are in the same AWS account. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Create an S3 bucket for each use case. Create an S3 bucket policy that grants permissions to appropriate individual IAM users. Apply the S3 bucket policy to the S3 bucket. Option B. Create an Athena workgroup for each use case. Apply tags to the workgroup. Create an IAM policy that uses the tags to apply appropriate permissions to the workgroup. Option C. Create an IAM role for each use case. Assign appropriate permissions to the role for each use case. Associate the role with Athena. Option D. Create an AWS Glue data catalog resource policy that grants permissions to appropriate individual IAM users for each use case. Apply the resource policy to the specific tables that Athena uses. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a data engineer needs to schedule a workflow that runs a set of AWS Glue jobs every day. The data engineer does not require the Glue jobs to run or finish at a specific time. Which solution will run the Glue jobs in the most cost-effective way? Option A. Choose the Flex Execution class in the Glue job properties. Option B. Use the Spot instance type in Glue job properties. Option C. Choose the Standard Execution class in the Glue job properties. Option D. Choose the latest version in the Glue version field in the Glue job properties. Correct answer is option A. Question is, a data engineer needs to create an AWS Lambda function that converts the format of data from .csv to Apache Parquet. The Lambda function must run only if a user uploads a .csv file to Amazon S3 bucket. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Option A. Create an S3 event notification that has an event type of S3 object created. Use a filter rule to generate notifications only when the suffix includes .csv. Set the Amazon resource name ARN of the Lambda function as the destination for the event notification. Option B. Create an S3 event notification that has an event type of S3 object tagging. For objects that have a tag set to .csv, set the Amazon resource name ARN of the Lambda function as the destination for the event notification. Option C. Create an S3 event notification that has an event type of S3. Use a filter rule to generate notifications only when the suffix includes .csv. Set the Amazon resource name ARN of the Lambda function as the destination for the event notification. Option D. Create an S3 event notification that has an event type of S3 object created. Use a filter rule to generate notifications only when the suffix includes .csv. Set an Amazon Simple Notification Service Amazon SNS topic as the destination for the event notification. Subscribe the Lambda function to the SNS topic. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company is migrating on-premises workloads to AWS. The company wants to reduce overall operational overhead. The company also wants to explore serverless options. The company's current workload use Apache Pig, Apache OG, Apache Spark, Apache HBase, and Apache Flink. The on-premises workloads process petabytes of data in seconds. The company must maintain similar or better performance after the migration to AWS. Which extract, transform, and load ETL service will meet these requirements? Option A, AWS Glue. Option B, Amazon EMR. Option C, AWS Lambda. Option D, Amazon Redshift. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a data engineer must use AWS services to ingest a dataset into an Amazon S3 data lake. The data engineer profiles the dataset and discovers that the dataset contains personally identifiable information (PII). The data engineer must implement a solution to profile the dataset and obfuscate the PII. Which solution will meet this requirement with the least operational effort? Option A, use an Amazon Kinesis data firehose delivery stream to process the dataset. Create an AWS Lambda transform function to identify the PII. Use an AWS SDK to obfuscate the PII. Set the S3 data lake as the target for the delivery stream. Option B, use the detect PII transform in AWS Glue Studio to identify the PII. Obfuscate the PII. Use an AWS state functions to state machine to orchestrate a data pipeline to ingest the data into the S3 data lake. Option C, use the detect PII transform in AWS Glue Studio to identify the PII. Create a rule in AWS Glue data quality to obfuscate the PII. Use an AWS state functions state machine to orchestrate a data pipeline to ingest the data into the S3 data lake. Option D, ingest the dataset into Amazon DynamoDB. Create an AWS Lambda function to identify and obfuscate the PII in the DynamoDB table and to transform the data. Use the same Lambda function to ingest the data into the S3 data lake. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company maintains multiple extract, transform, and load ETL workflows that ingest data from the company's operational databases into an Amazon S3 based data lake. The ETL workflows use AWS Glue and Amazon EMR to process data. The company wants to improve the existing architecture to provide automated orchestration and to require minimal manual effort. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Option A, AWS Glue workflows. Option B, AWS step functions tasks. Option C, AWS Lambda functions. Option D, Amazon managed workflows for Apache Airflow, Amazon MWAA workflows. Correct answer is option A. Question is, a company currently stores all of its data in Amazon S3 by using the S3 standard storage class. A data engineer examined data access patterns to identify trends. During the first 6 months, most data files are accessed several times each day. Between 6 months and 2 years, most data files are accessed once or twice each month. After 2 years, data files are accessed only once or twice each year. The data engineer needs to use an S3 lifecycle policy to develop new data storage rules. The new storage solution must continue to provide high availability. Which solution will meet these requirements in the most cost-effective way? Option A. Transition objects to S3 one zone infrequent access S3 one zone IA after 6 months. Transfer objects to S3 Glacier flexible retrieval after 2 years. Option B. Transition objects to S3 standard infrequent access S3 standard IA after 6 months. Transfer objects to S3 Glacier flexible retrieval after 2 years. Option C. Transition objects to S3 standard infrequent access S3 standard IA after 6 months. Transfer objects to S3 Glacier Deep Archive after 2 years. Option D. Transition objects to S3 one zone infrequent access S3 one zone IA after 6 months. Transfer objects to S3 Glacier Deep Archive after 2 years. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company maintains an Amazon Redshift provisioned cluster that the company uses for extract, transform, and load ETL operations to support critical analysis tasks. A sales team within the company maintains a Redshift cluster that the sales team uses for business intelligence BI tasks. The sales team recently requested access to the data that is in the ETL Redshift cluster so the team can perform weekly summary analysis tasks. The sales team needs to join data from the ETL cluster with data that is in sales team's BI cluster. The company needs a solution that will share the ETL cluster data with the sales team without interrupting the critical analysis tasks. The solution must minimize uses of the computing resources of the ETL cluster. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Set up the sales team BI cluster as a consumer of the ETL cluster by using Redshift data sharing. Option B. Create materialized views based on the sales team's requirements. Grant the sales team direct access to the ETL cluster. Option C. Create database views based on the sales team's requirements. Grant the sales team direct access to the ETL cluster. Option D. Upload a copy of the data from the ETL cluster to an Amazon S3 bucket every week. Create an Amazon Redshift spectrum table based on the content of the ETL cluster. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a data engineer needs to join data from multiple sources to perform a one-time analysis job. The data is stored in Amazon DynamoDB, Amazon RDS, Amazon Redshift, and Amazon S3. Which solution will meet this requirement most cost effectively? Option A, use an Amazon EMR provisioned cluster to read from all sources. Use Apache Spark to join the data and perform the analysis. Option B, copy the data from DynamoDB, Amazon RDS, and Amazon Redshift into Amazon S3. Run Amazon Athena queries directly on the S3 files. Option C, use Amazon Athena federated query to join the data from all data sources. Option D, use Redshift Spectrum to query data from DynamoDB, Amazon RDS, and Amazon S3 directly from Redshift. Correct answer is option C. Question is, a company is planning to use a provisioned Amazon EMR cluster that runs Apache Spark jobs to perform big data analysis. The company requires high reliability. A big data team must follow best practices for running cost-optimized and long-running workloads on Amazon EMR. The team must find a solution that will maintain the company's current level of performance. Which combination of resources will meet these requirements most cost effectively? Choose two options. Option A, use Adobe Distributed File System HDFS as a persistent data store. Option B, use Amazon S3 as a persistent data store. Option C, use x86 based instances for core nodes and task nodes. Option D, use Graviton instances for core nodes and task nodes. Option E, use Spot instances for all primary nodes. Correct answer is option B and option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company is migrating a legacy application to an Amazon S3 based data lake. A data engineer reviewed data that is associated with the legacy application. The data engineer found that the legacy data contained some duplicate information. The data engineer must identify and remove duplicate information from the legacy application data. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Option A, write a custom extract, transform, and load ETL job in Python. Use the data frame drop duplicate test. Duplicate SF function by importing the pandas library to perform data deduplication. Option B, write an AWS glue extract, transform, and load ETL job. Use the find matches machine learning ML transform to transform the data to perform data deduplication. Option C, write a custom extract, transform, and ETL job in Python. Import the Python duplicate library, dedupe library. Use the dedupe library to perform data deduplication. Option D, write an AWS glue extract, transform, and load ETL job. Import the Python dedupe library. Use the dedupe library to perform data deduplication. Correct answer is option B. Question is, a company uses Amazon S3 to store semi-structured data in a transactional data lake. Some of the data files are small, but other data files are tens of terabytes. A data engineer must perform a change data capture CDC operation to identify changed data from the data source. The data source sends a full snapshot as a JSON file every day and ingests the changed data into the data lake. Which solution will capture the changed data most cost effectively? Option A, create an AWS Lambda function to identify the changes between the previous data and the current data. Configure the Lambda function to ingest the changes into the data lake. Option B, ingest the data into Amazon RDS for MySQL. Use AWS Database Migration Service AWS DMS to write the changed data to the data lake. Option C, use an open source data lake format to merge the data source with the S3 data lake to insert the new data and update the existing data. Option D, ingest the data into an Amazon Aurora MySQL DB instance that runs Aurora serverless. Use AWS Database Migration Service AWS DMS to write the changed data to the data lake. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a data engineering team is using an Amazon Redshift data warehouse for operational reporting. The team wants to prevent performance issues that might result from long-running queries. A data engineer must choose a system table in Amazon Redshift to record anomalies when a query optimizer identifies conditions that might indicate performance issues. Which table views should the data engineer use to meet this requirement? Option A, STL uses control. Option B, STL alert event log. Option C, STL query metrics. Option D, STL plan info. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company uses Amazon Athena to run SQL queries for extract, transform, and load ETL tasks by using create table as select CTAS. The company must use Apache Spark instead of SQL to generate analytics. Which solution will give the company the ability to use Spark to access Athena? Option A, Athena query settings. Option B, Athena workgroup. Option C, Athena data source. Option D, Athena query editor. Correct answer is option C. Question is, a data engineer has a one-time task to read data from objects that are in Apache Paraquet format in an Amazon S3 bucket. The data engineer needs to query only one column of the data. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Option A. Configure an AWS Lambda function to load data from the S3 bucket into a Pandas data frame. Write a SQL select statement on the data frame to query the required column. Option B. Use S3 select to write a SQL select statement to retrieve the required column from the S3 objects. Option C. Prepare an AWS Glue Data Brew project to consume the S3 objects and to query the required column. Option D. Run an AWS Glue crawler on the S3 objects. Use a SQL select statement in Amazon Athena to query the required column. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company needs to set up a data catalog and metadata management for data sources that run in the AWS cloud. The company will use the data catalog to maintain the metadata of all the objects that are in a set of data stores. The data stores include structured resources such as Amazon RDS and Amazon Redshift. The data stores also include semi-structured resources such as JSON files and .xml files that are stored in Amazon S3. The company needs a solution that will update the data catalog on a regular basis. The solution also must detect changes to the source metadata. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Option A. Use Amazon Aurora as the data catalog. Create AWS Lambda functions that will connect to the data catalog. Configure the Lambda functions to gather the metadata information from multiple sources and to update the Aurora data catalog. Schedule the Lambda functions to run periodically. Option B. Use the AWS Glue data catalog as the central metadata repository. Use AWS Glue crawlers to connect to multiple data stores and to update the data catalog with the metadata changes. Schedule the crawlers to run periodically to update the metadata catalog. Option C. Use Amazon DynamoDB as the data catalog. Create AWS Lambda functions that will connect to the data catalog. Configure the Lambda functions to gather the metadata information from multiple sources and to update the DynamoDB data catalog. Schedule the Lambda functions to run periodically. Option D. Use the AWS Glue data catalog as the central metadata repository. Extract the schema for Amazon RDS and Amazon Redshift sources and build the data catalog. Use AWS Glue crawlers for data that is in Amazon S3 to infer the schema and to automatically update the data catalog. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, an airline company is collecting metrics about flight activities for analytics. The company is conducting a proof of concept POC test to show How analytics can provide insights that the company can use to increase on-time departures. The POC test uses objects in Amazon S3 that contain the metrics in .csv format. The POC test uses Amazon Athena to query the data. The data is partitioned in the S3 bucket by date. As the amount of data increases, the company wants to optimize the storage solution to improve query performance. Which combination of solutions will meet these requirements? Select two options. Option A, add a randomized string to the beginning of the keys in Amazon S3 to get more throughput across partitions. Option B, use an S3 bucket that is in the same account that uses Athena to query the data. Option C, use an S3 bucket that is in the same AWS region where the company runs Athena queries. Option D, pre-process the .csv data to JSON format by fetching only the document keys that the query requires. Option E, pre-process the .csv data to Apache Paraquet format by fetching only the data blocks that are needed for predicates. Correct answer is option C and option E. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company has used an Amazon Redshift table that is named orders for 6 months. The company performs weekly updates and deletes on the table. The table has an interleaved sort key on a column that contains AWS regions. The company wants to reclaim disk space so that the company will not run out of storage space. The company also wants to analyze the sort key column. Which Amazon Redshift command will meet these requirements? Option A, vacuum full orders. Option B, vacuum delete only orders. Option C, vacuum reindex orders. Option D, vacuum sort only orders. Correct answer is option C. Question is, a company stores data in a data lake that is in Amazon S3. Some data that the company stores in the data lake contains personally identifiable information PII. Multiple user groups need to access the raw data. The company must ensure that user groups can access only the PII that they require. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least effort? Option A, use Amazon Athena to query the data. Set up AWS Lake Formation and create data filters to establish levels of access for the company's IAM roles. Assign each user to the IAM role that matches the user's PII access requirements. Option B, use Amazon QuickSight to access the data. Use column-level security features in QuickSight to limit the PII that users can retrieve from Amazon S3 by using Amazon Athena. Define QuickSight access levels based on the PII access requirements of the users. Option C, build a custom query builder UI that will run Athena queries in the background to access the data. Create user groups in Amazon Cognito. Assign access labels to the user groups based on the PII access requirements of the user. Option D, create IAM roles that have different levels of granular access. Assign the IAM roles to IAM user groups. Use an identity-based policy to assign access levels to user groups at the column level. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company stores petabytes of data in thousands of Amazon S3 buckets in the S3 standard storage class. The data supports analytics workloads that have unpredictable and variable data access patterns. The company does not access some data for months. However, the company must be able to retrieve all data within milliseconds. The company needs to optimize S3 storage costs. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Option A, use S3 storage lanes standard metrics to determine when to move objects to more cost-optimized storage classes. Create S3 lifecycle policies for the S3 buckets to move objects to cost-optimized storage classes. Continue to refine the S3 lifecycle policies in the future to optimize storage costs. Option B, use S3 storage lanes activity metrics to identify S3 buckets that the company accesses infrequently. Configure S3 lifecycle rules to move objects from S3 standard to the S3 standard infrequent access, S3 standard IA, and S3 glacier storage classes based on the age of the data. Option C, use S3 intelligent tiering. Activate the deep archive access tier. Option D, use S3 intelligent tiering. Use the default access tier. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a data engineer uses Amazon Redshift to run resource-intensive analytics processes once every month. Every month, the data engineer creates a new Redshift provisioned cluster. The data engineer deletes the Redshift provisioned cluster after the analytics processes are complete every month. Before the data engineer deletes the cluster each month, the data engineer unloads backup data from the cluster to an Amazon S3 bucket. The data engineer needs a solution to run the monthly analytics processes that does not require the data engineer to manage the infrastructure manually. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Option A, use Amazon step functions to pause the Redshift cluster when the analytics processes are complete and to resume the clusters to run new processes every month. Option B, use Amazon Redshift serverless to automatically process the analytics workload. Option C, use the AWS CLI to automatically process the analytics workload. Option D, use AWS CloudFormation templates to automatically process the analytics workload. Correct answer is option B. Question is a data engineer needs to use an Amazon QuickSight dashboard that is based on Amazon Athena queries on data that is stored in an Amazon S3 bucket. When the data engineer connects to the QuickSight dashboard, the data engineer receives an error message that indicates insufficient permissions. Which factors could cause to the permissions related errors? Choose two options. Option A, there is no connection between QuickSight and Athena. Option B, the Athena tables are not cataloged. Option C, QuickSight does not have access to the S3 bucket. Option D, QuickSight does not have access to decrypt S3 data. Option E, there is no IAM role assigned to QuickSight. Correct answer is option C and option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is a data engineer needs to build an extract, transform and load ETL job. The ETL job will process daily incoming .csv files that users upload to an Amazon S3 bucket. The size of each S3 object is less than 100 MB. Which solution will meet these requirements most cost effectively? Option A, write a custom Python application. Host the application on an Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service Amazon EKS cluster. Option B, write a PySpark ETL script. Host the script on an Amazon EMR cluster. Option C, write an AWS Glue PySpark job. Use Apache Spark to transform the data. Option D, write an AWS Glue Python shell job. Use pandas to perform the data. Correct answer is option D. Question is a company ingests data from multiple data sources and stores the data in an Amazon S3 bucket. An AWS Glue extract, transform, and load ETL job transforms the data and writes the transformed data to an Amazon S3 based data lake. The company uses Amazon Athena to query the data that is in the data lake. The company needs to identify matching records even when the records do not have a common unique identifier. Which solution will meet this requirement? Option A, use Amazon made pattern matching as part of the ETL job. Option B, train and use the AWS Glue PySpark filter class in the ETL job. Option C, partition tables and use the ETL job to partition the data on a unique identifier. Option D, train and use the AWS Lake Formation Find Matches transform in the ETL job. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is a company is building a data stream processing application. The application runs in an Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service Amazon EKS cluster. The application stores processed data in an Amazon DynamoDB table. The company needs the application containers in the EKS cluster to have secure access to the DynamoDB table. The company does not want the embed AWS credentials in the containers. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Store the AWS credentials in an Amazon S3 bucket. Grant the EKS containers access to the S3 bucket to retrieve the credentials. Option B. Attach an IAM role to the EKS worker nodes. Grant the IAM role access to DynamoDB. Use the IAM role to set up IAM roles service accounts IRSA functionality. Option C. Create an IAM user that has an access key to access the DynamoDB table. Use environment variables in the EKS containers to store the IAM user access key data. Option D. Create an IAM user that has an access key to access the DynamoDB table. Use Kubernetes secrets that are mounted in a volume of the EKS cluster nodes to store the user access key data. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company uploads .csv files to an Amazon S3 bucket. The company's data platform team has set up an AWS Glue crawler to perform data discovery and to create the tables and schemas. An AWS Glue job writes processed data from the table to an Amazon Redshift database. The AWS Glue job handles column mapping and creates the Amazon Redshift tables in the Redshift database appropriately. If the company returns the AWS Glue job for any reason, duplicate records are introduced into the Amazon Redshift tables. The company needs a solution that will update the Redshift tables without duplicates. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Modify the AWS Glue job to copy the rows into a staging Redshift table. Add SQL command to update the existing rows with new values from the staging Redshift table. Option B. Modify the AWS Glue job to load the previously inserted data into a MySQL database. Perform an upsert operation in the MySQL database. Copy the results to the Amazon Redshift tables. Option C. Use Apache Spark's data frame drop duplicates function API to eliminate duplicates. Write the data to the Redshift tables. Option D. Use the AWS Glue Resolve choice built-in transform to select the value of the column from the most recent record. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a financial company recently added more features to its mobile app. The new features required the company to create a new topic in an existing Amazon managed streaming for Apache Kafka Amazon MSK cluster. A few days after the company added the new topic, Amazon CloudWatch raised an alarm on the root disk use metric for the MSK cluster. How should the company address the CloudWatch alarm? Option A. Expand the storage of the MSK broker. Configure the MSK cluster storage to expand automatically. Option B. Expand the storage of the Apache Zookeeper nodes. Option C. Update the MSK broker instance to a larger instance type. Restart the MSK cluster. Option D. Specify the target volume in GIB parameter for the existing topic. Correct answer is option A. Question is, a company uses AWS Glue data catalog to index data that is uploaded to an Amazon S3 bucket every day. The company uses a daily batch processes in an extract, transform, and load ETL pipeline to upload data from external sources into the S3 bucket. The company runs a daily report on the S3 data. Some days the company runs the report before all the daily data has been uploaded to the S3 bucket. A data engineer must be able to send a message that identifies any incomplete data to an existing Amazon Simple Notification Service Amazon SNS topic. Which solution will meet this requirement with the least operational overhead? Option A. Create data quality checks for the source datasets that the daily reports use. Create a new AWS managed Apache Airflow cluster. Run the data quality checks by using Airflow tasks that run data quality queries on the columns data type and the presence of null values. Configure Airflow directed a cycle a cyclic graph DAGs to send an email notification that informs the data engineer about the incomplete data sets to the SNS topic. Option B. Create data quality checks on the source data sets that the daily reports use. Create a new Amazon EMR cluster. Use Apache Spark SQL to create Apache Spark jobs in the EMR cluster that run data quality queries on the columns, data type, and the presence of null values. Orchestrate the ETL pipeline by using an AWS step functions workflow. Configure the workflow to send an email notification that informs the data engineer about the incomplete data sets to the SNS topic. Option C. Create data quality checks on the source data sets that the daily reports use. Create data quality actions by using AWS Glue workflows to confirm the completeness and consistency of the datasets. Configure the data quality actions to create an event in Amazon Event Bridge if a dataset is incomplete. Configure Event Bridge to send the event that informs the data engineer about the incomplete datasets to the Amazon SNS topic. Option D. Create AWS Lambda functions that run data quality queries on the columns data type and the presence of null values. Orchestrate the ETL pipeline by using an AWS step functions workflow that runs the Lambda functions. Configure the step functions workflow to send an email notification that informs the data engineer about the incomplete data sets to the SNS topic. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company uses Amazon S3 as a data lake. The company sets up a data warehouse by using a multi-node Amazon Redshift cluster. The company organizes the data files in the data lake based on the data source of each data file. The company loads all the data files into one table in the Redshift cluster by using a separate copy command for each data file location. This approach takes a long time to load all the data files into the table. The company must increase the speed of the data ingestion. The company does not want to increase the cost of the process. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Use a provisioned Amazon EMR cluster to copy all the data files into one folder. Use a copy command to load the data into Amazon Redshift. Option B. Load all the data files in parallel into Amazon Aurora. Run an AWS Glue job to load the data into Amazon Redshift. Option C. Use an AWS Glue job to copy all the data files into one folder. Use a copy command to load the data into Amazon Redshift. Option D. Create a manifest file that contains the data file locations. Use a copy command to load the data into Amazon Redshift. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a data engineer is launching an Amazon cluster. The data that the data engineer needs to load into the new cluster is currently in an Amazon S3 bucket. The data engineer needs to ensure that data is encrypted both at rest and in transit. The data that is in the S3 bucket is encrypted by an AWS key management service AWS KMS key. The data engineer has an Amazon S3 path that has a privacy enhanced mail PEM file. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Create an Amazon EMR security configuration. Specify the appropriate AWS KMS key for at-rest encryption for the S3 bucket. Create a second security configuration. Specify the Amazon S3 path of the PEM file for in-transit encryption. Create the EMR cluster and attach both security configurations to the cluster. Option B. Create an Amazon EMR security configuration. Specify the appropriate AWS KMS key for local disk encryption for the S3 bucket. Specify the Amazon S3 path of the PEM file for in-transit encryption. Use the security configuration during EMR cluster creation. Option C. Create an Amazon EMR security configuration. Specify the appropriate AWS KMS key for at-rest encryption for the S3 bucket. Specify the Amazon S3 path of the PEM file for in-transit encryption. Use the security configuration during EMR cluster creation. Option D. Create an Amazon EMR security configuration. Specify the appropriate AWS KMS key for at-rest encryption for the S3 bucket. Specify the Amazon S3 path of the PEM file for in-transit encryption. Create the EMR cluster and attach the security configuration to the cluster. Correct answer is option C. Question is, a data engineer needs to use Amazon Neptune to develop graph applications. Which programming languages should the engineer use to develop the graph applications? Select two options. Option A. Gremlin. Option B. SQL. Option C. ANSI SQL. Option D. Spark L. Option E. Spark SQL. Correct answer is option A and option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe.